The number of characters we've seen in Blue Lock who are absolutely cracked, who just seem OP, you know, there's a decent amount that you can point to and say, damn, King Baro, like, that should be wild. But I have to admit, the casually OP nature of Nagi, this character who immediately sucked me in because when you have the nonchalant attitude of doesn't give a shit, but then you see has scored like 7 goals since the whole thing started, it's not one of those characters who are pulling the team down. More so, if they actually gave a shit and wanted to be the absolute best, you have to wonder, would anyone be able to stand in their way? And to get the confirmation that the only reason this laid-back, casual guy is playing soccer in general, not even just Blue Lock, but soccer in general, is because a rich kid paid him to. Like, literally, the ability and the natural talent for this sport, it's completely on point. Like, the casual kick to rebound his game console so it didn't break, and the fact that he didn't even die in the game afterwards, the fact that you have someone who was handed everything in life, was spoiled beyond belief, but was never happy. The one thing he wanted, he couldn't get because, as the parents say, and as kind of harsh and cruel as it wasn't really misguided. There's only a very select few who can ever make it that high, and you're meant to inherit the business. Like, you have basically no chance in hell where, you know, this is something that will actually set you for life. Obviously, you should do what makes you happy, but you can see the mindset of how they got there. And the fact that he's using this boy who's naturally talented but wants nothing to do with the sport. You have someone who wants to be the absolute best and is more or less using someone that can, basically, he can say, we're going to do this move, and they do it, and they work together to basically get his dream accomplished. It's pretty impressive, and the fact that you sucker punched me, man. Blue Lock does such a good job at making me expect the worst, but then over the course of something happening, I drop my guard and I say, damn, Isagi's crew's about to get that W, aren't they? And then they sucker punch me and say, bitch, we made you drop your guard just so this impact would hurt all the more. Because here's the thing, you know they have to win, or at least that's the assumption, right? Because they confirm, they beat it over our head. Should they lose here, there's no draws, there's no ties, you lose, you're eliminated. We have the snake in a grass who is currently the top scorer of their team, so he's set. Even if they get eliminated, he gets to progress, though we have Jinpachi saying, more or less, you're screwed, bitch, because you are just a snake, a worm, right? The fact that your goals are basically, they're not real, they're not genuine, you can't replicate that, like you don't belong in Blue Lock. Though based on the current rules of this round, he would progress. But we can tell, should that happen, the next round, he would probably be one of the first to go. Like, it feels given at that point. So the whole concept, it's in place, so you would imagine they end up winning and they get to progress. But then I have to wonder which one of the central 3 out of their opponent's team would actually be the top scorer. We know who currently is the top scorer, and I believe that's Nagi. But then you have this rich kid who obviously is talented, but wants to progress. So would it be something along the lines of like both him and Nagi would tie, they'd have the same yellow cards and just somehow they both could progress? I don't know, but I'm interested to see if Nagi will like wake up and then start to be passionate about the sport and then that's why he'll continue playing. I don't know, like there's a lot of uncertainty, and the thing that Blue Lock has done a really good job at is making me care about the goddamn characters. Like I legit love every single character in some way. Like you have this traitorous Quan who I don't like on a personal level, but he adds such a spice to this show that I'm glad he's currently a part of. And there's only 2 directions you go with a character who stabbed the team in the back as hard as him. Either A, he's going to have a redemption arc that's going to have the fandom collectively say, I never expected to like this character again, but goddamn Blue Lock delivered, or they'll fall on the knife and we'll cheer for their defeat. Either one of those will work in my opinion, and I'm excited to see what they do. For some time, this character is going to stick around, and the chokehold is as much as you want them to just choke them out. I'm kind of on Isagi's side, being like, we still need him, unfortunately, and man, it's such a tough pill to swallow. But, you know, this episode was fantastic because it was a setup episode, right? It was basically just getting the plays down, figuring out, like we see, they studied their moves, and for a brief moment, they were countering them. Everything that each of their key players did, they countered beautifully. Unfortunately, their headbutt didn't land a goal, but you basically were cheering like, hip hip hooray, they can do this, you know? We were probably feeling like a pit in our stomach, a little knot churning, but then it just all backfires and you see them more or less do the exact move that they just saw them do and then replicate it into their own crafting of a goal And the fact that you can have Nagi so casually say, I don't know why you struggled, that was easy. It's just disrespect in such a casual, nonchalant way that sends a chill up your spine and saying, why did I let my guard down to begin with when this mofo came in and just completely disrespected everything they built up? But either way, like, I just don't know where you go from here, but that's kind of the fun about Blue Lock, right? Is that it's constantly this roller coaster that has you invested both in the sport, but then the interpersonal relationships, the backstabbing, the betrayal, how close they've truly felt like they've grown, but then they have this big snake that's biting at their ankles, that's seeping venom into them every which way you look at it. It's just, I don't know where you go, but that's the excitement. I did see a lot of people talk smack about the production of this episode, saying it felt outsourced and it felt a lot less polished. And while I can definitely say it felt rough around the edges, I never looked at this episode and felt, damn, it looked ugly. Like, most of the time where it does feel like it probably was outsourced, even if, like, I'm not sure if the whole episode was or just key points, a lot of it actually kind of felt stylistic and very similar to stuff like Sunny Boy, which I've already complimented the latest Mob Psycho 100 episode for kind of having that vibe. So for me, it never felt distracting, and based on the art style and the character designs that we're following, a dip in animation and art design quality actually doesn't feel as drastic of a downgrade as a lot of shows with a different type of aesthetic. So for me, it actually worked, and all the blending of 3D and the effects and stuff, like, there are some key plays that looked amazing, and I love how they had that kind of like electronic futuristic feel of how they explain the technical sides of the game. It just lets it just pop so much, especially when Jinpachi pops up and just gives a breakdown, because he's such a menace, but without him, it'd be such a much more boring sport in general. So obviously he still remains to be the best, but honestly, the number of characters I look at and say, damn, I hope we get to see more of them, but then I realize, damn, this could be the last we ever see of them. It's kind of heartbreaking because there's so many great personalities in King Baro versus Isagi, man. This is a boy who I keep saying has the most potential to be like the best striker in the future. Right now, he's more of a support, but the fact that within 3 shots, or 2 shots actually, he was able to figure out how King Baro was more or less making his goals work. Sure, he actually had a bit more distance than Isagi was realizing, but based on what he showed him, he was able to predict it pretty damn well. So honestly, Isagi seems like he'll probably be the key, but honestly, it's a coin toss, right? Like, I've truly given up trying to predict exactly what would happen. Like, you can look at Chigiri and say, yeah, he'll probably be the key, but you can never exactly know how someone will be the key. So I don't know. I'm excited, but this match, it feels like, I don't know, something's worrying, because you just cheer for the cool shit you see characters like Nagi do, but then you realize what it would mean if they ended up winning, and I'm like, how do you progress? I don't know, but we'll see, right? But thoughts and feelings yourself down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. You can also consider supporting the Patreon, got a full live reaction to today's episode available, and you can also get video shoutouts like a few we're about to get here. So we got Ham of Rage, Rain Reaver, and Ivan Anton Shich, I think is how you say your last name. I do apologize for the mispronunciation that I probably just did there. But thanks as always. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.